Welcome to this introductory session of the workshop online tool for designing ventilation systems to reduce manure pit entry risk. In this session, we're just going to take care of some logistics and get you started and make you aware of some of the resources that are available to you both during and at the conclusion of each workshop session. This workshop was developed by Dan Hofstetter, Harvey Manbeck, Dennis Murphy, and Virendra Puri, all members of an ag safety team at the Pennsylvania State University. The instructor for this workshop will be Harvey Manbeck from the Pennsylvania State University. The first thing we need to do is learn how to access the online tool that is the focus of this entire workshop. And the way you would do that is to access the website ventdesign.agsafety.psu.edu. And then, once you have done that, click on to the button that says Online Ventilation Tool, and then you will be prompted to enter your username, which should be the email address to which you want results sent. And you will need to establish a password for accessing the online tool in the future. So as soon as this session is over, I would suggest that you do that so that you will have full capability during the rest of the workshop modules. Now, there are also some supportive materials on the website, on the same website. When you get to the website, there is a button that says Workshop Modules in PDF format. And what that is a series of PDF files of the workshop PowerPoint presentations. I would recommend that the student download and print a hard copy of the module before you access the website for the workshop module. This is particularly important for the case studies because what it will allow you to do is it will allow you to look at the PowerPoint slide on which we define the geometry and the ventilation configuration for the case study. And that will help you as we lead you through the data input procedures for each case study. On that same website, there's another button that says Supplemental Results File. These supplemental results files are organized by and identified by the workshop module, module 1, 2, 3, 4, up to number 7. And in these files are several things. The first thing is what we call previews. And this is a 3D rotatable sketch of the manure pit or the manure pit and barn that was simulated in each of the modules. These previews are very, very useful to the user because it gives them the opportunity to occasionally access this file and see whether or not what they have inputted geometry-wise matches what the preview shows, and it helps you identify input errors. But anyway, these will be on the supplemental results file. The other thing would be the actual results files, and that would include movies of gas concentration decay in different cross sections of the barn or the manure pit, animations of oxygen concentration replenishment. There are also static contaminant gas decay curves and oxygen replenishment curves, both for the barn and above the manure pit and the manure pit being ventilated. To give you an idea of what these look like, when you go to the supplemental results file for module number 4, which happens to be for a cross-ventilated barn, it has all of these items on it. And let's first look at the rotating 3D preview. the one with the highlighted arrow by it. When you would go to that file, in the supplemental results file for Module 4, you would see a sketch of the modeled building. The big red block in the bottom would be the manure pit domain. Above it would be the barn domain. And when you right or left click on your computer with this, when you get into the preview, there is a menu that allows you to do many things. It allows you to rotate that figure. You can look at it from the top, from the side, from the end, from at some angle from the end or from the side. Anyways, you can do that. The other thing you can do is you can look at a wide variety of special views. You're able to, for example, strip away the cover of the manure pit and look at the manure pit itself. You could look at it with the ceiling of the barn removed and look at the barn and so forth. So there's many, many, many things that you can do with this 3D preview. Then in the same supplemental results files, there are a series of animations. And like I said, these are movies of gas concentration decay over time as a function of time from the beginning of manure pit ventilation. And they're for several, each animation is for a different cross-section in the barn. For example, the one that's highlighted here is for the barn's 6-inch plane. That would be a horizontal cross-section through the barn, 6 inches above the manure pit cover. You look at the next one, and it says the animation of the barn right midplane. That would be a vertical cross-section through the barn and the manure pit. Now let's look at the 6-inch plane one, just to give you an idea of what it looks like, the highlighted one. This is a frame of that movie captured 20 seconds after the beginning of manure pit ventilation. What it shows by the different colors is the concentration of the particular contaminant gas that is being shown here in that building. And just to give you an idea, red is bad. That would mean we have a hydrogen sulfide concentration of more than 100. Blue is good, because the dark blue, because that says we have 0 parts per million of hydrogen sulfide. So this is just a captured frame at 20 seconds, and you can imagine how this is pretty exciting actually when you see the real-time movie that shows how these concentrations vary over time of ventilation. And then there's another series of results, which is highlighted here with the arrow. This says the results file. These are Excel files in which are the data and the plots of either oxygen replenishment in the barn or in the pit as a function of time from the beginning of ventilation, or plots of the decay of contaminant gases like hydrogen sulfide, carbon dioxide, ammonia, or methane as a function of time from the beginning of manure pit ventilation. The entire workshop series consists of 7 modules. The approximate time of presentation is shown on the left, and I would recommend very highly everyone should first look at Module 1 and look at the overview of the online tool. I think for maximum benefit and ease of understanding, I think it's most appropriate that you would go successively from Module 2 to 3 to 4 to 5, because what we do in, say, Module 4 is we depend on, or we look at some of the other features of the online tool input process. We use some of the input results from Module 3 to save time for inputting the data for Module 4. And I think that concludes what I wanted to cover in this first session. It gets you started. Be sure to upload the online tool and get your password and your user ID established, get your account established. and take the time to download the PDF files, get a hard copy, put them in a notebook so that you can have them beside of you to make notes and for the reason I expressed earlier on. I look forward to seeing many of you at module number 1, which will be an overview of the online tool. Thank you and good day.